guys. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Spotlight. I'm excited to introduce to you guys Mr. Keith Baker himself, and I will be interviewing him today. Let me go ahead and read a bit of his bio first, and then we'll jump right in. Keith Baker loves to learn things the hard way and values experience. He now contracts with Integra Technical in London and teaches people how to safely become a private lender to real estate investors through the Private Lender podcast and forthcoming Private Lender Academy. Beautiful. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you for having me. It's I was honored that you asked me to be on. So
yeah, absolutely. Happy you're here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. First and foremost, I have to ask, loves to learn things the hard way.
Yes.
Do you mind giving us a bit more detail on that before we jump in?
I was always the kid that I had to touch the hot pot on the stove. If you told me that it was going to burn me, I would look at you with contempt. What do you know? And I realized I gave my parents a lot of grief that way as a child, and would I wanted to. I'm the type I want to tear things apart, see how they work, and understand them. So when it comes to, I tend to learn things the hard way. I find that those I do well that way. I'm also a visual learner, but also the hard way. So I put that out there just because. Well, one, it's very true, but also hopefully it's a thread that will connect with others that that we don't have. I certainly don't see the whole staircase. Before I take my steps. So that's what it's really about. Is just I do value firsthand experience. I mean, there is value in learning something theoretically in a book and applying it. Definitely. I mean, I have a degree in philosophy. I'm all over that type of application, but also learning things firsthand. Seeing how I would take apart anything that was broken, not always put it back together to where it worked. Fixed it, but I took it apart anyway to see.
I bet you have a lot of fun stories that coincide with that. So we'll have to get on that topic another day.
There were a couple of neighbors that wanted their stereo equipment back and never got it. Yeah, that was.
See, exactly. All right. So what sparked your interest in entrepreneurship? Just tell us a little bit more about your overall journey towards an entrepreneur.
It's funny. I was thinking a lot about this when I agreed to do this and saw what sort of the topics and questions were going to be. And so oddly enough, I'm sort of the jack of all trades, master to none. I have a little bit of aptitude in a lot of areas. I don't really consider myself like a specialist in any one thing. Like, I'd never be a Jerry Rice. He's a phenomenal receiver. So for me, looking back on it, I think it was actually my dad's dream to become an entrepreneur. And
interesting.
Our conversations I would lead them down the road of, I don't want to work for somebody else. And so Dad would tell me how to do it. He said, well, go work for somebody for 5 years, learn the business inside and out, or 10 years or however long it takes, that sort of thing. And so, but I found that I had these aptitudes where, I remember very early on, my dad made me go cut grass for this lady who was in his Sunday school classes, and he would drive me with the lawnmower and a weed eater in the back of the car, drop me off like 7 a.m. in the summer, and then I'd have to push everything back about a mile back to the house. And then I found Sam's Club, or my parents found Sam's Club, and these massive buckets of bubble gum. I convinced my dad to buy me a bucket of bubble gum, and I sold them each for a nickel at school during lunch and whatnot, when there weren't a whole lot of eyes around. And then my dad helped foster it with one year for Christmas. I told him I wanted business cards, and so he gave me a small box of business cards with my name, address, phone number.
Awesome.
It was Baker Enterprises. Enterprises was misspelled. It was spelled with an I. And and I really think that went a long way to kind of solidifying it, in my head, to where I wouldn't say I was born, to do it. but I certainly evolved into it with the right amount of nurturing, and then to come to find out that not only his parent, well, there's an entrepreneurial angle in his family, but also in my mom's family as well. They were, her parents owned a grocery store, a broom factory, so there was entrepreneurialism in the blood, and it was really
Yeah, that's awesome.
sort of refining it, I guess, more than anything else.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. What have been your favorite experiences thus far as an entrepreneur on your journey?
Paydays, big checks. I'm not gonna lie. That's a salve that heals a lot of wounds, at least momentarily, when you see big checks. But also, um, there is a sense of accomplishment of going about. I sort of rotted in my W-2. I liked the people that I worked with, and we were a family. That was great, but I saw just stagnation written everywhere. So I got out, and it's not always easy, as you know, as anyone watching this knows. It's oftentimes painful,
Right.
but I also wouldn't have it any other way, And so that's been the journey's been the most enjoyable. Yeah, the paychecks are nice, but they're not every day, those big ones. So
Very true. Yeah.
that it's just that process of knowing that, putting one foot in front of the other with just faith that you can figure it out. Building your airplane after you jump off the cliff, I guess, is if you're not comfortable with that idea, then
Right. It's exactly it. It's exactly what it feels like. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you for sharing that. If you could give one piece of advice for all entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Don't ever give up. I don't care how dark and how bleak it is, and you will want to quit. I'm in one of those periods right now, right? It's that things aren't, as profitable. Things aren't this. They're not, they're not perfect. They're not whatever. They're, seemingly against you. That's not to say don't pivot, but don't ever give up. That's the only difference between, people that we look up to in the entrepreneurial world and everyone else who quote unquote failed or didn't hack it or whatever was essentially at some point they decided to stop. Or,
Very
and there's nothing wrong with, I mean, like if you're doing the wrong thing and you don't have passion about it, I'm not going to be the one to say, no, don't give up. I mean, you gotta hitch your cart to the right horse,
I love
But
that.
if you've done that and it's your passion, then don't quit. And the hardest thing for me with that, and then I'm gonna answer a question that's already sort of in there. The hardest thing is tuning out the people around you that are questioning you or doubting you, because they will, and they'll be family, they'll be friends, and there will be people who identify what you're doing as something that's extremely scary for them, and they will let you know in no uncertain terms. So you just got to keep going. I mean, this isn't for everyone. That's for sure. I mean, I didn't go to medical school because it ain't for me, right? I didn't go to law school because it ain't for me. So, you gotta, make sure you're hitched to the right horse, but then, yeah, don't give up on it. Keep going.
Would you say that support is another really important thing in that mindset and that space where you feel like the world is crumbling around you?
Support sure does help. Yeah. And I think everyone needs a little bit of a buffer because at the end of the day, we all can't be Atlas. No matter who we are, there's something we need to lean. There's somebody we need to lean on for something.
Right.
It may not be business related at all, right? Or work related or anything. It could
Right.
be a spiritual thing. It could be, how am I going to handle my kid? Whatever. I think that there's always, the answer, I guess, yeah, there's always somebody that can help you and try to find a good support community. But not just yes people either, but people who are there to say, look, yeah, I did something very bad. Yeah, you did. Own up to it.
Yeah.
And move on.
Ownership, no doubt. And people
they don't sugarcoat it and oh, that's okay. Okay. It's anyway. Yeah, that's. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like it's another one of the many reasons why I'm so passionate about this group and even just this process of the interview, so we can support each other. So I really wanted to just touch on that. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So, last but definitely not least, as you know, this community I've built so we can all give back to one another and help lift each other as needed. How can we all support you currently with where you're at in your endeavors? Is there anything you need currently in your business? Is there anything that you're looking for? Is there a tool that you're trying to seek out, or maybe is there anything you need? Just blanket statement.
Yeah, yes, there is. However, there's nothing the group can do yet, and I'll explain to that. There will be a time, but I've decided to um, sort of pull back on the private lending side of things to regroup. And I'll just share my mistake was I thought a virtual assistant would cure everything. So I went and long story short, I spent a lot of money to learn that I don't have a clear vision for what I want. And so I'm actually drafting an email now. I'm going to disassociate. I feel bad, but I will, provide severance to the VA because he's done a phenomenal job for me. I've just completely misused him. I've misused the funds for him,
Gotcha.
and I'm hoping that we're recording this in the middle of December, and I'm hoping to spend the next few weeks, hopefully, um, revamping and sort of rebuilding everything from the podcast to the academy as a solopreneur, as just one person. And if it takes another 6 months, then so be it. But at
Awesome.
least this way, I can, I have more control over it, and I understand what's going on. Whereas, like right now, things are being posted on Facebook that I haven't even seen. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't have that involvement. They're just quotes of the day or whatever.
Right.
Um, but in terms of, I think I tried to outsource too quickly to not have to deal with things, and that's not how you do it. I mean, I've learned, quickly that back when I was a one man band and doing everything, I had a lot more influence, a lot more reach. And the other thing I've seen is, and I pay these guys as business coaches, but if I see another Facebook post in front of a private jet, I think I'm going to vomit. Um, dead serious. I'm dead serious. It's more for show to me. It seems a lot. And a lot of these guys you're interrupt marketing. I understand it, right? Like you've got to get
I
people's
know.
attention, and there's flash, and it's this guy looks successful. What is he saying?
Right.
And
Right.
that's not my horse, and that's the one I kind of hitched myself to. I thought, and so um,
I gotcha.
kind
Okay.
of going back to. I mean, I still pay those guys. They give great advice, business advice, uh, but in terms of what my marketing is going to look like, I'm not concerned anymore. Like I have to have the greatest selling course, or I have to be the best, influencer teacher out there.
I hear
Look,
you.
if you want my product, I'm here for you. If I can help you, I would love to. If
Absolutely. Yeah.
if you're not for me, if I'm not for you, I mean, then that's okay too. And maybe tell me what you want. Maybe I know somebody who can help you find that path or illuminate that path for you. But um,
I think that's beautiful, personally.
that's sort of my and well, it also helps comes in honey that the day job is just actually absolutely blown up with hours, and I don't have a whole lot of time, and it's the same old song and dance of I have a couple of full-time jobs, one that pays me money, the rest is I show for my kids, from parties and soccer games and this and that, and so just sort of coming in and resetting that life work and balance and what I'm going to do and what my image is going to be, what my message and my mission is going to be that I put out is I want to strip it down and just be more goofy like I really am, and and weed out the tire
Please.
kickers.
That's you. Yes.
Anyhow, so so from support from the community, I mean, be on the lookout. We can listen to Private Lender podcast at iTunes, Google Podcast. I mean, anywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever there's you can listen. There's a platform you can listen to the Private Lender podcast. And like I said, the Private Lender Academy is slowly but surely taking shape, and I hope to get it out there as a product. I'm going to strip it down and use it I've decided to bring the price down and make it more accessible to some people, and give them a chance to kick tires to see if that's what they really want. Whereas, um, and then have another tier like, okay, if they're real serious, then we can jump in and I can give some group or one-on-one coaching. But that's getting clear on that. And also, I brought on some students and I realized how much time it ate out of my day. And I was like, I need to rethink all of this. Otherwise, this is just gonna, not gonna work. So that's kind of where I'm at. I know it's a risk and a gamble to go
Building the
quiet.
plane. You're building the plane. This is
Yeah, well, that's it.
yeah.
I'm losing some audience by going quiet and revamping, but I hope to gain a lot more, when I come back. So
You'll
that's sort of the
gain
plan for now.
you'll gain the people who are aligned with the vision you are creating, and that's what it's all about. And the more authentic you are, the more true you are to yourself and your true north. That's where you find your people. So
Yeah.
for you, I'm excited for that journey for you. That's actually a really fun time because you get to be creative and just dig in and manipulate things as you like. So
Yeah. And most of my posts now are, revolve around music or concerts and whatnot. And that's who I am. I love live music, and so I just kind of gravitate. I'm not looking to get, hey, live music goers, and learn about private lending. It's just, I see this great band, or as you know, I'm very much into drummers, so I love finding new and interesting people and their kits and what they play. So, um, sort
you
of
should
a
post a
obsession.
video of you drumming for us.
What's that?
Said you should post a video of you drumming for us.
Oh, I don't know about all that. Give me some more time to practice a song so I can at least stay in time with it, and then maybe I'll do it. See, the problem is I'm not 30 years younger. I keep thinking I'm 17 and I can just sit down and play, and it doesn't work like that anymore. The body's like, look, I need to be warmed up. I need to be stretched.
Well,
I need to be brought into the mood for exertion.
all right. So let me ask one last question just for clarity's sake.
Sure.
So I'm going to post the link for your podcast. Do you want to give a little bit more information on the academy, just so people who are interested in learning a little bit more on private lending have that information for themselves, and then we'll end the interview there.
Sure. Yeah. So the podcast, I'll just break it down this way. Sorry. The podcast was sort of the first foray into talking about it, private lending, and how to become a private lender. And then with the academy, it was okay. I'm gonna walk people step by step through, identifying the funds that they want to use, what sort of return they're looking for, how active. The more active you are, the more money you're going to make. But then, the more activity you engage in, the less passive the investment becomes, right? So there's where sort of walk people through that, where they are with that, and then how to, once you've identified how to find borrowers, how to look for, the deals. I teach people, right? I give away the best advice I always give away for free. That's look for people with gray hair that have been doing real estate for a very long time. It's not a guarantee that your money is safe, but it sure as hell helps go a long way to ensuring the safety of your money. But that's the point of the academy, is to walk them through so that in 30 days they're basically ready to lend on their first deal.
Cool.
And then that's the same way. Like I serviced all my notes. I was very active in it, and then I said, wait a minute, I can just get a note servicing company to do this for 15, $20 a month and throw it on top of the note, and they take care of all the heavy lifting and make it even more passive for me. So I kind of walk through all of that in the Private Lender Academy, and then that's sort of 101. There'll be a 102 so 101 takes you through sort of like your normal flip house scenario, short-term purchase, fix, sell. 102 will go more into longer-term investments, which usually don't have the high rates of return. But for those that are interested in, a lower rate but consistent over the years, go into financing for rental properties, also doing subject to deals and other creative. You can get darn creative when it comes to real estate and purchasing houses and whatnot. And so that's the 100 series or the freshman series, and then I have like this idea of like in college, 2, 3, and 4. But ultimately getting to the point where, showing people how to evaluate apartment deals, because that's sort of where I'm more focused now, is learning the multifamily side and as a private lender. And also, I'm also investing in commercial as well, which is, I'm not ready to talk to anybody about, certainly not from a sense of, knowledge.
Got
I'm
it.
definitely a sponge right now. And full disclosure, I teach people how to be safe, but my first commercial deal was, I really liked the horse, but I loved the jockey even more. So I just, you know, I had I sent out some information. I got one objection about the rents being too high in their projections, and then the bank actually came back, who gave the loan, and said, "We think your rents are too low." And so I just, yes, I will invest in that property, and I would not recommend doing that. Certainly wouldn't take money to counsel anyone to do that, but it is my story and it is the truth. So
Cool.
it's cool that I get to walk. I get to walk by, drive by, and come on, I live in Houston. You don't walk anywhere, but I get to drive by this building and see it go from like this warehouse looking old 1950s 60s structure to a revamped high end retail
That's really cool.
facility.
I love
And so,
that.
so that's the basis behind the Private Lender Academy, is to
Cool.
provide that, and then also, of course, some one-on-one or some group coaching, but um, that's going to be very limited. So that's going to be the second tier. I figured out now, like I want the baseline product that almost anybody can get, and then if you want more, then I can provide a little more attention for a higher price, but that will be extremely limited. Just looking at my kids' social calendar, I'm not going to be able to fulfill a lot.
I
So
hear that loud and clear. All
yeah.
right.
So
Well,
anyhow, but that's it. So thanks. Thank you for letting me come on. Thank you for letting me talk about the Private Lender Academy
yeah, of
and
course.
what it's all for, and yeah, and sharing my story. I mean, and by the way, guys, Lauren, she's great. You call her, text her, become her client, become a client of the Subconscious Muse, because there is a whole world out there that I wasn't aware of until sat down and started looking at some things. And I still go to yoga now. 6 months later, I'm still very active in yoga, and I have to give Lauren all the credit. She was the one that
Yes.
got me to go to my first class, and
Awesome.
that was it. So thank you
Thank,
for that as well.
thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for your time today and just for sharing your heart and your vulnerability and your passion and what you're working towards. Truly means a lot to me. Thank you. And for everyone watching, please, if you have any questions for Keith, comment below. This is pre-recorded, so it's not live, but Keith will be aware and be able to answer them as you comment.
Happy to answer. Yeah, any questions that come through, and yeah, let me know if I can help.
Yeah.
Even if it's just I have a stupid question. Well, then ask it. Let's sort it out. Right? No stupid questions until you know. Right? I mean, you don't
That's
know
what
until you know.
we're here to help each other. So, and I'll post links for, well, I don't know if I have one for your academy, but for your podcast.
Yeah, I'll get those over to you here quickly. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful day. Thank you again, Keith.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.